Long ago, or perhaps only a little while from now, there stood a house at the edge of a forest. It was not large in the way castles are large, nor small in the way cottages pretend to be humble. It was simply right-sized, as if it had grown there rather than been built. Those who came upon it noticed first the light, not the sort of light that pours from chandeliers or windows flung wide, but a quieter glow, as though the walls themselves were listening, and the listening had begun to shine. This place was called Castle Grace. Every true house begins not with wood, but with a thought. In the beginning there was a vision, no more than a seed of fire held in the heart of one person. He did not fully understand it himself, and that was precisely why it was alive. Had it been complete, it would have been dead. This person did not rule the house. He carried it. And while he carried it, he held within himself all the colors of the house that was yet to be. This was called the black perspective, though it was not dark in the least. It was black in the way rich soil is black, containing every color that would one day emerge. When the vision grew heavy enough to need others, the bearer spoke it aloud. This was known as first action. Those who heard the call did not all hear the same words. One heard responsibility, another heard freedom, another heard beauty, another heard order. They came not to agree, but to see. Each person who arrived carried with them a window, though they did not know it at first. And when they stood together around the vision, they discovered something remarkable. The vision did not appear whole through any single window. Only when the windows were arranged around the light did the house begin to make sense. These windows were called perspective lenses. Each lens had three parts: a vision of what it longed to serve, a territory it was responsible to watch, and duties, ordinary, unglorious actions that somehow mattered greatly. No one was above another. No one was beneath. Authority flowed not from position, but from clarity. The house did not run on commands. It ran on trust, attention, and truth. There came a day when the builders realized something sobering. As long as the house lived only in goodwill and memory, it could be forgotten. It could drift. It could be taken from them by confusion or fear. So they anchored it. They wrote down the rules, not to control one another, but to protect the living thing they had made together. This writing was called the Constitution, though it behaved more like a compass than a law book. Once this was done, the bearer of the first vision stepped back, not away, but upward. He no longer looked through the windows. He looked over the house. This was the white perspective, the view from the hill, concerned not with who was right today, but with whether the house would still be standing tomorrow. In most houses, when something goes wrong, people look for someone to blame. In Castle Grace, they looked for something else. They looked for a threshold. Sometimes it was an expansion threshold, a place where someone had grown to the edge of their strength. Other times it was an emotional threshold, a knot in the heart that had begun to tangle the work. These were not punished, they were addressed. The house had many rooms for this: quiet conversations, shared fires, long walks, and something called the sweat lodge, where truths were spoken plainly and without interruption. No one was forced to stay. No one was trapped by politeness. Participation was always a choice, but once chosen, it mattered. Occasionally, rarely, but inevitably, a window no longer fit the wall it was in. Perhaps the view had changed. Perhaps the glass had cracked. Perhaps the person holding it had grown into someone else. In such cases, the window was not smashed. It was fired, a word that sounded harsher than it felt. The person stepped back for a time. Others held their place. And if they wished to return, they did so not by force, but by truthfully re-entering the house. Nothing here was permanent except the vision. Visitors often noticed something they could not quite name. There was leadership, but no control. Intimacy, but no confusion. Structure, but no rigidity. At the center of the house, beneath the work, beneath the relationships, beneath even the rules, was something older. A church, though not one with pews. It was the shared acknowledgement that none of this belonged to them, that the house existed under something greater, that sovereignty and submission were not opposites but partners in a dance older than language. This was why the house could hold contradiction without breaking. This was why it felt alive. Some stayed for years, some stayed for a season. Some came only to be changed and then went on their way. But all who passed through learned the same quiet lesson. A house does not survive because it is controlled. It survives because it is tended. And if ever you should come upon such a house yourself, one where responsibility feels like love, where truth is spoken gently but never avoided, where power rests lightly in the hands of those who know its cost, you will know it by the light, not because it dazzles, but because somehow it helps you see.